What's up, guys? Welcome back to the JP and Trav show on the JP and Trav YouTube channel. As always, it's your host with the most, JP. To my right, I have my esteemed brother, co-host, and friend, Travis J. Davidson. Travis, how you feeling, man?
Man, I'm feeling great. Feeling great. Got some spicy popcorn going on right now, so I may have some sniffles from time to time. But I'm feeling good, man. Got my Grill Boys stuff done. Got the pregame for OU Insider Shot this morning. That'll be out tomorrow. And then I'll be off to Norman tomorrow. So super excited for a primetime game. Got lots of I think I had 3 tailgates I got to go to. I got meet up with my boy Douglas Miles, fresh off a trip from the Queen City, the beautiful Cincinnati, where I got to see my co-host, Andy Sooner, JP. It's good to see you, man. How are you?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm blessed. Just finished my last volleyball home game of the year. We're into our regionals. You know, we don't have enough to do enough Christian schools in the state to do, or in our state area, in our central region to do a sectional. So we have regionals next week, and my girls are the number 1 seed. So hopefully they can come out of it and get to state, but we'll see. So doing well. Enjoyed a weekend with the brother Trav and also with TJ. We had a grand old time that we're going to talk about here in just a second. But welcome in, guys. Go ahead and make sure you hit that like button for us. Make sure you share that we are live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you're at, as Trav cracks open a Schooner Ale, if you will. That was pretty good too. Try one of those. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. But yeah, let's talk about it, man. Before we get into the game, we used to do traveling with Travis last year, and this time we get to travel with JP and Trav. What was the best part of the Cincy trip for you?
Man, that's tough. Best part of the Cincy trip, probably. I don't know. New Riff was fun. Yeah. Honestly, seeing downtown Indy was cool, but that wasn't. I guess that wasn't part of the Cincy trip. But but honestly, seeing all those people come by Martino's, I mean, it was just really cool because Martino's was such a great partner to us. They gave us such a great setting, and a ton of OU fans came through, man. Yeah. I signed my first autograph.
Me too.
Which was great. Which was great.
Yeah.
But it's just exciting to to see people, and it's OU fans on the road are a different breed, man. Like,
yeah,
these are people that are willing to get uncomfortable, that are willing to go into a new place, go into the unknown. Maybe they're like you and they live, too far from Norman to make the trip regularly.
Yeah.
So maybe they feel somewhat almost like a host. Anyways, road games are a lot of fun. I love the Palace. There's nothing like it, but it's just a different, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like I said, nothing can compare, but I can't wait for Lawrence. I can't wait for Stillwater. I can't wait for Provo. Really excited about those.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was all a great time. Chicken 1515, we got to meet him. He was there.
Yep.
Fun time. Yep. We didn't get the Stromboli. I did get a calzone though, and that thing was giant. I mean, they brought it out, and I looked at Trav like, what is this? And then Trav ordered a sandwich that the guy who was helping us out the most, I don't know if he was he the GM of the store?
He was the owner.
He was the owner.
So it's 3 generations of owners. There's Mop, who's the original Martino.
And he looked like
Martin.
Like a boss.
Yeah, and then he said when they first arrived in town, everybody thought they were with the mob because they were Italian, and he just didn't correct anybody because he's like, man, we're going to be better off if people think we're the mob. They're not going to screw with us. So, and then his son's name. So you've got Mop, and then you've got Marty, and then you've got Dante, which is the son that was working behind the bar. So you had 3 generations in Martino's. But yeah, that sandwich. Woo-wee.
I saw Dante kick somebody out when I went in there to get a drink. Somebody was messing, and Dante was not having it. He was not having it at all.
Not having it.
But we got the boy Hayes in the chat. What's up, Hayes? How you doing?
Hayes, what's up, my man? Go ahead and drop all those OU edits. Go ahead and just clean them out of the drafts, man. Clean them out. We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
But yeah, to finish the story real quick, Trav ordered this sandwich, and Marty was like, Trav was like, yeah, let me get like the forward or whatever, and Marty was like, no, you don't. You don't want the full.
Yeah, he was like, oh, you want the half Italian stallion? And my thing is, when I'm getting subs or anything like that, I always go with Italian. With the Italian meats, I like the sopressata, I like the capicola, salami, the pepperoni, everything like that. Like, I like that. And like, so anywhere you see me at a Mr. Good Sense, you see me at a Jersey Mike's, at a wherever, a Subway, even anything. You see me at a Jimmy John's, you see me anywhere, and I'm getting a sub sandwich, it's Italian. So I'm thinking, Italian stallion at a place named Martino's. Let's get it in. So I was like, I'll have that. And he's taking it down, and he's like, hey, okay, so the half Italian stallion. And I was like, no, dude, you can go ahead and bring me the full one. He almost looked offended. He was like, no, you don't want the full one.
Yeah.
See that over there? And he points to somebody else's sandwich. He goes, that's a half. And I was like, yeah, bring me the half. Yeah, Hayes. I had to call out your cousin, and call out your cousin and tell him to relax on the timeline, talking about how he was right all along and this, that, and the other. Hey, man.
That was acting like me. He was getting into it.
Hey. Nobody knows better than Hayes. You got to have thick skin if you're going to be tweeting about recruiting. You just simply have to.
Yep.
But Hayes' little brother, Kristen, was I appreciate that he's trying to get into the recruiting game. I appreciate it. It's cool. But the way to do it, try and build relationships, try and network, do things like that. Like, you can't literally, he was like, my first recruitment to cover was the Dominic McKinley recruitment. And I was like, what do you mean cover it? You started tweeting out information. Anyways, we don't need to drag it all over the podcast after I drug it all over Twitter earlier. But yeah, it was funny because a couple people were like, man, shouldn't have got started with OU Twitter, man. They're going to be on your neck. And they were, man. They were.
We are notorious for doing that. People. Yeah.
And then I got into it with Casey Smith, and she unfollowed me. I'm like, yo, Casey, what up?
You got into it with Casey Smith?
Man.
You was into it with everybody today.
Man, I don't know. Well, hey, man, that Twitter ad revenue, man.
Hey.
That time of the month, man. I checked my impressions. They were looking good, so I figured I ought to get some more.
I was really quick. I don't think I really said what my favorite part was probably, and then I got one more question, then we will finally move on to the game, which I know everybody wants to get to.
Right.
It was probably the bar that was right next to our hotel. We went out there and we played some cornhole, and we ran into some Cincinnati fans. And I'll just be honest. I'll be honest with y'all. Your boy I was selling the bag. I was early. Because it was almost like a preview of the game, because we had OU fans, Cincinnati fans, so we was just we was having some friendly banter. And we lost when I played the first time. We lost 21 to, I don't know, 21 to 8 or something like that. It was bad. And then TJ out there with Trav, they won, and then me and TJ ran them after that. So I thought that was fun, just a cool interaction, and everything like that. But
I enjoyed our game against each other. That was fun.
That was fun. That was fun. Little singular game, having having some fun. What? Let me ask you this, and then we'll move on to the game. Travis visited. He stayed with me Saturday night. He got to come to Indianapolis and see the city for the first time. And so, Trav, what was your favorite part of Indianapolis?
I think my favorite part of Indianapolis was just the downtown area. I mean, that memorial circle, the Veterans Memorial Circle, whatever you call it.
Yeah, Monument
I
Circle.
mean, it was fantastic. I mean, you're literally downtown. You just look up and there's this huge statue, and I'm like, I want to go hang out over there. So just walking around, and I think again, like living downtown here, I feel like I've like my appreciation has grown for like historic like architecture and things like that. So what was so cool was we walk in the middle of downtown Indy, and I'm taking pictures and whatnot, and all of a sudden this like light show starts, and I mean, it was. I was like, "Yo, what's this?" And you go, "Oh man, I guess we got here at the right time." And it starts going through all these different, like, very patriotic stuff about Indianapolis, and I mean, it was really really cool. So, really enjoyed that. Walked around town. There's a lot going on.
There was a lot
Um,
going on.
there's a,
There was.
there's a lot going on. So, no, I mean, that was probably my favorite part. For those loyal listeners, um, um,
Oh Lord.
thanks for this segment and continuing your rant about me for no reason. Stop crying. Anyways, no, I thought Kilroy's was really cool. I don't know. It like everything about Indianapolis is cool. That's a city I could definitely see myself visiting again. It's not that bad of a drive either.
Yeah. Yeah, and we got to witness Notre Dame lose in a bar. Probably 50. I think it's probably 60% Notre Dame fans and 40% Ohio State fans because, as you know, Notre Dame is in Indiana. For those of you who didn't know, about 2 hours north of here. But yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. But yeah, let's move on to the game. And we, I'll just say we, Mister, whatever his last name is, we can address you later, I guess, if that's what we need to do. But our
Nah,
fans are waiting for our content, so
we
that's what
we
we're doing.
squashed everything in the DMs. We good.
Right. It's all good. It's all good. We moving on. All right. Oklahoma controlled Cincinnati 20-6. Obviously wasn't the prettiest offensive performance, but got it done. Defense played great. But what are your thoughts on Sue's performance? And obviously, it was fun for me personally to get to see them live. I know you have every game this year probably, but what were your thoughts on the game?
Well, I think we got a really good defense. I know that much. Cincinnati had been putting up some points for sure. The rushing attack was excellent that they had. They still had red zone issues the week prior, so I don't want it to be a situation where, like, I wish I could take credit for that and just say, man, they were a great red zone offense this entire time, and then now all of a sudden we stopped them. I mean, they were not a good red zone offense, but yeah, we're 6 quarters into not allowing a touchdown. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty impressive. I think Dylan Gabriel needs to be a little bit cleaner, but I also think that 68% completion percentage with over 300 yards passing, a rushing touchdown, and a passing touchdown, I think that'd probably get it done. So OU fans, I was going through my OU Insider article today, going over the score predictions of last week.
Mm-hmm.
And out of all the predictions, not a single one had Cincinnati scoring less than 13 points, which just shows me that some people are still, myself included, are going to have to get used to this defense winning ball games for us. Now, do we want to score 50 every game? Absolutely. Absolutely 60, 70, 80. We want to score it all every game. But like it's okay to win by 2 touchdowns and be led by a dominant defense.
Yeah.
That's fine. You don't want to be so dependent on one player like a Caleb, or like a Kyle or something, where it's like if they go down, you're SOL. And we saw what happened when we lost Caleb. So yeah, overall good team performance. I thought pass protection was good.
Yeah.
I liked what we did in the second half with more the gap scheme over the
Yeah.
zone blocking scheme. I think our first 8 rushes of the second half went for 50 yards, and obviously that's much better than what we were doing in the first half. So hopefully we get to see a little bit more of that. Savion Bird's going to be back this week. We'll see what happens with that left guard.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
Yeah. It was awesome being so close to the game. We were almost basically right up on the wall, and we were right next to the student section. TJ and I were. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that the defense played lights out. They for them to go into a place like that, and I know Cincinnati's not like the best offense that there is, but certainly they, especially their rushing attack, is pretty formidable. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we held them under their season average for that, and we kept them out of the end zone, which is a big deal. They had plenty of opportunities. And we stuffed them. I think that Dylan certainly didn't play his best game. He wasn't. He certainly contributed to our win. For all the DG's game manager crowd, that was probably the closest to a game managing game you're going to get from him. But there were still opportunities to be had that just didn't connect on. I don't blame him for and you guys, Travis, I don't know if you can hear. It sounds like I'm echoing a little bit. I don't know if anybody else hears that. If not, then I'll just keep. But I don't blame DG for that Jalil Farouk overthrow. I know people are going to say he's got to hit that. I don't necessarily disagree, but it was right in front of me and TJ, and Jalil was gassed. Like if he's even probably, I don't know, 75% of probably what he normally runs, then he catches that. I truly believe that. Just watching it live, I think Jalil was gassed. So I don't blame DG for that one. The Jaden Gibson one, absolutely. And obviously the fumble, the almost pick six, the almost fumble that he threw backwards. Like he certainly didn't have his best game in terms of decision making, but he still bounced back and was able to be a leader and do what we need to do to get the game won. And he helped us in the quarterback run game a lot too. Now the offensive line, I think, like you said, Trav, when they moved that gap scheme, was a ton better. And I think it's just something we got to figure out with the running situation, which we'll talk here about in a little bit. But man, I think that it reminded me, and I told TJ this, it reminded me so much of the West Virginia game in terms of like the offense just could not get going, but our defense kept us in the game. Our defense kept us in the game, and we didn't falter, we didn't fall apart, and we ended up grinding it out and covering, which is a big deal. Like I know it wasn't as pretty as we wanted it to be, but it was a game that I think we needed, and that the team probably needed to see. Okay, hey, this is different than last year, because last year they might have lost that game. And let me, I did not try to get TJ killed, y'all. I'm just gonna be real. When I'm in the stands, like I don't deal with foolishness. I won't go that far to get us in a fight. But like DG, it was when DG slid, Trav. Remember? And the guy, like, he came in on him, and you just can't do that. Like everybody knows that. And all the Cincinnati fans around us are like, "Oh, that's a we a family show, so I'm not gonna say the word, but that's a P call. Like that's terrible. Like whatever." And I'm like, "Are y'all stupid? Like, did you not see that the quarterback gave himself up and both of your players like went down at him? Like that's not that hard to comprehend to me. So I was like, nah, like y'all are tripping. But it was fun. It was a fun time. So
Yeah, and with Dylan, I think in the future when the guy's that wide open, Dylan should just take the air out of the ball and try and hit him with it.
yeah,
Like hit him where he stands. Like it's the guy threw 38 passes, and we're going to sit here and bitch and moan about 2 overthrows. One to Gibson, one to Jaleel. It is what it is. I said this on the little sneak preview on the pregame show, but JP, I said this about DG detractors earlier. I said when a house burns down, the fire marshal investigates it. Right? Was it an oily rag? Was it? Yeah. No, I know that there was a fumble. Was there an oily rag? Was there a candle that was left out? Was there a lightning strike? Like, what caused the house to burn down? Was it burn your house down challenge on TikTok that all the kids are doing? Like, what caused it? And I think honestly, people are delusional about their revisionist history of Baker and Kyler and Jalen and all that. Like,
never made.
Look, I love those quarterbacks as much as the rest of them, but everybody thinks that those guys never overthrew the ball, never underthrew the ball, never threw picks. One of Baker's most iconic games, I've said this over and over, one of Baker's most iconic games, he went 19 of 39 with 2 interceptions. And after that game, I'm pretty sure OU fans got tattoos of him. So Dylan completes 68% of his passes, and everybody's in here whining. Like, so what I have done is that's what I've done. I've investigated why, because I realize the house is burnt down. I am not going to convince people that don't like Dylan. I'm not going to convince them. I'm going to stop trying to convince them. I'm just gonna try and figure out the reasons why they don't like him. And it's delusion and revisionist history about our past quarterbacks. And it's Jackson Arnold behind him. Because next best thing is right there.
Yeah.
They've got that wandering eye.
Yeah.
They've got that wandering eye. No, man. No. Dance with who brung you. Dylan Gabriel is your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
So with that, it's, Jackson, yeah, he went that 11 for 11. That's awesome. Went 2 for 4 next time he was allowed to throw and threw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball at Blake Smith from 4 feet away. Like, it doesn't have to be this black, white. It doesn't have to be Republican, Democrat. It doesn't have to be Pepsi, Coke. It doesn't have to be Target, Walmart. It doesn't have to be, whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be that. We don't have to pick a side. You can just say they're both good, and Dylan's your starter now, and Jackson will be your starter next. That's okay. I promise you, that's okay, because what's going to happen next year is Jackson might play poorly, and we're going to hear the Michael Hawkins and Brennan Zurbrugg chants. Or the next year goes by, and we're going to be hearing all about how Kevin Sperry should get in early. Every quarterback deals with it. This is the fan base that ran Brent Venables out of town once already. So I get it. And it's tiring, but I get it. And it's the standard is the best. Best is the standard. It's nothing's good enough. I get it. But I promise you can just say, while Jackson Arnold will be fantastic, Dylan Gabriel is our starter. Yeah. It's fine.
They're just anxious.
And he's doing this with largely no running game.
Yes.
And again, football, I know that he had a fumble. I promise you. But maybe if Marcus Major doesn't whiff on the guy and Dylan could have walked into the end zone, he doesn't fumble.
Yeah.
Yeah. there's a lot of things that go into football success. And Kirby, I never said that overthrows don't matter. But I think OU fans for the longest time expect people to. They need Kyler to go score 50. They need Baker to go score 50. They need Jalen to go score 50, or else we're going to lose. Guys, it's okay. We have a defense now. You know, if Dylan played a game last year where he threw for 450 yards and 6 touchdowns, and we lost, and everybody says, "Well, Dylan can't go win you a game when you need him to." He sure as hell won that game, but the defense couldn't get a stop late. Kansas State was the same way. I mean, there's just the way Dylan has played this year, there is zero reason to say, I need to put a true freshman in there.
Yeah, I just okay. Can somebody verify that? Is that 11 times for 2.1 yards a carry? Because that may be true, but there's also plenty of quarterback run game that got like there were 2 quarterback run games in the fourth quarter that got us first downs too. That like sealed the game.
That accounts for the 1 sack too, right?
Yeah.
And also, guys, in the comments, I'm not singling out any of you. So, like, I'm speaking to all the people I argue on Twitter with, all the people I argue in DMs with, all the people I argue, worst of all, on Facebook with. I just need to stay off Facebook. Jeez. If idiots could fly, Facebook would be an airport. I mean, it's ridiculous over there. So that's the thing. The reason I'm getting, worked up about this is because I have these conversations often. So that's where it just gets old. It's like, it's not hard to just support the quarterback. You don't have to pick a camp. This isn't Parker Thune versus Kerry Murdoch. This isn't, whatever. It's not. You don't have to be camped this.
Yeah.
But
they're anxious. They won't take what's in front of them. They always are looking ahead. Like as Kirby said, if he's doing this now, he's going to do this against Texas, and it's just not true. Like football is not transitive. Like yes, if you can tell alarming trends, that's fine. But like to be honest, he really hasn't overthrown much this year. Like this game was probably the first or second time we saw an overthrow the entire year. The first couple of weeks we were complaining about underthrows. So like just to say because we saw it pop up and you have flashbacks to last year does not mean that that's for sure going to happen. And even if he did overthrow that ball, like it doesn't mean he sucks. Like it means he's a human quarterback. And again, like you said, Trav, like we expect him to be Baker or Kyler, and he's not that, and that's okay to admit. But he's a dang good quarterback. Like I'm not saying he's as good as Landry Jones was, but he is Landry Jones-esque in terms of like he'll put up a lot of numbers for you. I really would like to see him come up big in a big game. That's what I want to see from him personally. I want to. Like, that's fine. I will challenge him on that. I want to see that from him. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that he didn't, some of the decisions that he made on Saturday didn't, like, bother me. Yeah, they bothered me. But you know what? I believe in him that he's going to go to the drawing board. He's going to do better because it's not like he's been doing that this entire year. So, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, my God, like, and freak out about it. I'm just not going to do that. And like, Kirby, you just trolling, dog. Like Hawaiian Red Bomar. Get out.
I won't lie. I laughed. I thought that was pretty funny. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, but anyways, I mean, we won as we said. At the end of the day, we covered. Like, and Cincinnati's a hard place to play. It was loud, bro. It was loud. At its loudest.
And that's the thing. And this kind of backs up my argument. There's been conversation, of course, with our SEC move. Should we add seats? Right? Everybody's like, we got to get to 100,000. We got to get to 100,000. I'm just thinking, man, like some of the loudest stadiums, they have an enthusiastic 40,000 people, an enthusiastic 60,000 people. Like the volume of the crowd, it's not often like just more is better, more is better. What I would like, and I think Cincinnati just reinforced that belief, is what I would like is have just the nicest stadium. Why don't you give everybody an extra 2 or 3 inches on their seat and fit 78,000 people in there? What if we had the nicest bathrooms and the best concessions and maybe a child care area, better medical facilities for all the people that forget to drink water for 2 weeks before a home opener? Like, like I think that a I think that a happy and comfortable and hydrated fan base is a loud fan base. And so I think obviously it was a big deal for them in their first Big 12 game, but I would much rather, like, again, that was louder than I've heard Norman for a lot of games. But that was a bigger deal to them than most games are that come to Norman these days. Like, I would imagine our first SEC game will be just as loud. But it's a very unique situation because you've got it dug down. It's the third oldest stadium in the country. It's the first stadium to ever be played, or where college football games are played under the lights. There's big buildings that, all the sounds echoing off of. I want to get your thoughts on the student section. What are your thoughts on the student section being in the end zone?
I mean, I thought it was great. It was fun, especially when we did our walk. When we got there early. They were just started their walk, and we got all the way to the end zone, and students were going crazy. They were loud. I mean, shoot, when we were backed up in the second quarter, I mean, what TJ in the comments, if you remember, what was it, 2 or 3 drives that started inside the 15 down there on the end that we were on, and man, like it was loud. That was when Dylan had that football bounce off of him. Oh no, that was wrong. That's wrong. That's in the first quarter. That was on the opposite end of the field. But again, it was hard to hear, and I think that student sections in the end zone absolutely are, in my opinion, the way to go. Because it's so daunting, especially like it just adds another element when you get a team backed up like that. When you flip the field position on them, it makes it so much better. And we were right there next to it, so we.
I kind of wish. I mean, I was fascinated by it.
Yep.
And I do think, from a sales perspective, the premium seats are the sideline seats, right? Not the end zone seats. Well, now in the south end zone, obviously in Norman, those are very nice. So those are going to be premium. But I am not opposed, and I know this is just 100% selfish. So all of you people that have had tickets in the north end zone for 80 years, don't think that I'm taking a shot at your family or anything like that. But it would be really cool to have the student section in the end zone, in the north end zone. Because here's the thing. If you put them, at the, like where they currently are, where they're currently going to be, you can't really affect the game. I mean, even if you are right behind the visiting bench, which you can't be in the SEC, and that's why they shifted them down, like, all they're going to be doing is heckling the kicker for the whole game.
Yep.
Who's kicking into the kicking net at the end of the bench. Like, that's all they're going to be doing. Like, if you put them in the end zone, you can affect when they are in the red zone or when they're backed up in their own territory. You can be super loud and it can feel like everybody's on top of you. You can legitimately affect the game if you're loud at that point. And you're on TV. You're in the background of all the field goals, everything like that. Like, and you can throw the ball out of the north end zone. Like, I just think there are a lot of advantages to, if we were to ever move the student section again, which this would have been the time to do it, obviously. But it would be that the north end zone would be really cool, and they could sell all those other ones for a premium. So strictly business wise, moving them there would be best.
I agree.
But they were impressive.
Yeah, no, they were. This last thing I'll say, and then we can move on to Iowa State. That's in a couple of days. This is probably one of the other times TJ probably thought I was trying to get him in trouble because I don't know if it was. I think it was after the Billy Bowman interception. Everybody, like a bunch of Cincy fans, started leaving, and the student section started to clear out. And I was being serious. Like, I was like, where are y'all? Like, there were still like 7 minutes left. I said, where are y'all going? Like, I was like, our offense hasn't been doing anything hardly all day. Like,
you instigators.
You could get, like, you could come back. I was like, what happened? Like, where are you going? And TJ was like, Jalen, shut up. JP, shut up. And I was like,
man,
I know.
Just like on Twitter.
Yes. That's exactly what I did. I said, where y'all go? What happened? Why are y'all leaving?
Man, I had 2 guys sitting behind me. God, they were so obnoxious. They spilled beer on my boss, which is never a good move.
Boss.
But they were 2 University of Ohio students that had bet the Cincinnati money line. And they were cheering for Cincy so hard, but they were hammered, and they were trying to be funny and obnoxious in the massively OU section. And it was just, God, it was so annoying. Once they spilled the beer, everybody was kind of like, yeah, it's time for you guys to get out of here. Yeah. But it's like, but they were just Ohio students that bet the money line, and they were in there just acting a fool. But no, I really liked it. I think I will, until we get to the SEC, I'll probably think at the back of my head, man, I'm going to miss Cincinnati, man. I wish Cincinnati would have been in the Big 12 sooner. We could have gone there, more often and had more fun. And then once we get to the SEC and that first trip to LSU happens, I'll be like, Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah. Facts. And Cincinnati's a cool city. It is like an hour and a half for me, but I'd rather be singing Georgia. Okay. The whole day through. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, Cincinnati, man, they got a good thing going. I don't like their coach very much, but they're going from $7 million payout to $30 million payout. They can go buy a coach. Plenty of good ones out there. I mean, I was walking back to the remote, and there were already guys saying that they should have never hired Satterfield. They should fire him already. I'm like, bro hasn't even unpacked.
Yeah.
Like, he just got here. Like, what are you talking about? So, anyway, Cincinnati was impressive, man.
It was. Let's move on to this week's game. Week 5, Iowa State rolling into Norman. I think are they 2-2? They beat Oklahoma State last weekend in a barn burner after only scoring 7 points versus Ohio University. They scored, I believe, 42 on Oklahoma State. And so they come in here to Norman looking to have an upset on their mind, and we're going to be in alternate jerseys, feels like we always are when Iowa State comes to Norman for whatever reason. But hoping to have a better result than 2017 when they upset Baker Mayfield's Sooners. What do you think OU needs to do to avoid the upset here? I mean, Iowa State has a good defense, like normal, pretty great defense. But their offense is super inconsistent and has just been downright awful at times, besides last week.
What does OU need to do? They just need to not beat themselves. I think if OU plays this straight up, I don't think they have to do anything spectacular. I think they just have to play like they've been playing. Nothing crazy. Even the way they played against Cincinnati in their worst performance of the season as a team. I think, going into this season, or going into the Oklahoma State game, Iowa State was the lowest scoring offense in Power 5. And it's not like they played a bunch of juggernauts. So they couldn't score. They gave up 20 to Iowa. I didn't even know Iowa was trying to score.
Yeah.
So it's just don't beat themselves. No mental mistakes. Don't muff any punts. Don't kick it out of bounds on a kickoff. Don't snap it over DG's head. Don't be sloppy. Can't have a lot of penalties.
Yeah.
That's all it is Oklahoma's just got to be themselves here, and they should get out of there with a win. Now, cover, we'll see.
What's the line at right now?
Last time I saw it was at 19 and a half, somewhere around there.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think get the run game going. They've got good corners. Everything's going to be dink and dunk, so don't get on here and start complaining that Levy didn't dial up any deep shots, because that's what Iowa State's designed to take away. They've got a good secondary. They got a first-round corner. So I think you're going to see the heavy emphasis on the run game in their 3-3-5 that they run, and then they're going to keep everything in front of them. So, I mean, DG will get fat off 7-yard pickups all day. And then eventually you just want one of those guys to make a miss, right? So it's, get the ball in the hands of Andrell Anthony and Jaleel Farouk and Nick Anderson and all those dudes underneath, and then just see if they can go, make somebody miss. And if they make somebody miss, then they might take it the distance. But you can't just – this isn't going to be a Tulsa game plan where it's just air raid all of a sudden where we're just throwing deep bombs. It's going to be dink and dunk, and the word of the week is patience. You just have to be patient.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, Trav. And that's the one thing people need to do their research, hopefully. And we've seen this Iowa State defense for years and played 3 deep safeties. Not going to get a ton of deep shots. If you do get one, you got to hit it. But it's going to be pretty rare. They'll have to make a mistake. But, yeah, we'll have to run out of it. A lot of things in the middle. I'm sure they'll try to get some things on the perimeter a little bit too, some quick game. But, yeah, I think that, as you said, if we just take care of business, there's no reason that this team should put up a fight. I need to – admittedly, I have not looked into the offense at all besides just stats. I need to see what they actually look like. So I'm going to plan on watching a game tomorrow, especially last week's games. What'd you say?
They don't run the ball real well. They're Jalen Noel, I believe, is their leading receiver. He's got 206 yards on the season or something like that. Bro, he had 146 of them against Oklahoma State.
Jeez.
So, I mean, it's hard because it's almost like you have to throw that game out to see what they were the first 3 weeks to gauge any consistency, because I don't know what happened against Oklahoma State, but I'll put it this way. It's more likely that Oklahoma State is not very good than it is likely that Iowa State turned into an offensive machine overnight. I mean, Noel, that receiver, had 126 yards in the first half.
Yeah.
He over doubled his season total in receiving yards in one half against Oklahoma State. So, I don't know. OSU ran the ball really well against him. I think that was key. I think Ollie Gordon had 18 carries for 126 yards, something like that. But that's the thing. It's Oklahoma State might be bad, man. They might be.
I don't know if they might.
I'm not sure. But They got torched by South Alabama and Iowa State, two offenses that are not supposed to be any good. Looked like world beaters against these guys. So I don't know. They might not be good. But it's always about defense with Iowa State. And like I said, if you just don't beat yourself, run the ball. I think Tawee Walker is going to have a big day. This is going to be a nice opportunity, really, to get Javonte Barnes and, most importantly, Gavin Sawchuk going.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We're going to run the ball a ton. Might as well get your running back some looks. But Tawee Walker leads the team in carries, yards per carry, yards, longest run, touchdown, rushing touchdowns by running backs, receptions by running backs, receiving yardage by running backs, and trucked opponents. So he leads the running back room in 8 categories. That's your best guy.
Yeah.
Right now.
Gotta use him.
Until Javonte Barnes and Gavin Sawchuk shake whatever funk they got going on, Tawee Walker is going to be your guy.
And I do want to hit on that for a second before we make our score prediction. It may come out that DeMarco Murray and Jeff Lebby have, I don't know, some vendetta against Javonte Barnes and Gavin Sawchuk. It could. Let's just be real. It could come out. I don't know. But like I'm not gonna sit here and go back and forth with fans that are like, we've seen Gavin Sawchuk and we've seen Javonte Barnes and we've seen what they can do. Put them on the field. Like they're in there with practice, or they're in there with them every day at practice, y'all. Like again, as an athletic director, Trav, like it just reminds me of that parent that like, why isn't my boy playing? And I'm like, because he loafed in practice last week. Right, I'm coaching my varsity basketball team this year. He loafed in practice last week. He was late 2 times. I tried to get on him, and he wanted to talk back. He didn't want to receive it. He didn't want to like. It's more than just like, oh, he's talented and we know it. And that's what sometimes what some of these parents think as well, is like, I know my son is talented, so why does that not equal you giving him an opportunity? And it's like, they have to do these things. And I'm sure the coaches have these things in place for them to get on the field. What do they look like in practice? That's what they say. That's what they say the barometer is. What did their practice week look like? And we can sit here and be like, well, we know Gavin Sawchuk and Javonte Barnes can have the highest ceiling or higher ceiling than Tawee Walker and Marcus Major. But, like, clearly they're not doing something. And, again, if it comes out that, again, DeMarco Murray and Jeff Lebby are just hamstringing them for no reason, then okay. But this was the same thing with Nick Evers last year, Trav. Like, why didn't Nick Evers get in the game? I mean, right? Like, it's the same type of thing. I understand it. I know they're telling. We saw what they were against Florida State. I get that. They've been injured, and clearly they just haven't got back to where they need to get to. Otherwise, like, we have to put faith in our coaches that they would put them on the field. You know what I mean?
You can't. Here's the thing. When injuries happen, especially a surgery, a procedure, it is a blank slate. Forget everything you knew about that running back prior to that. Or at least get rid of your expectations. Because if you go your whole life, and your whole life is a lot shorter than a lot of the people in the comments and certainly us two on the screen, a lot of your life you've been the fastest dude. You know, you're indestructible, right? You're invincible, you know. And all of a sudden you've got to have a surgery on your foot. How are you going to respond to that? You're going to bounce back? How does that affect your mentality? I think we've seen Javonte Barnes kind of do what I call kind of the shuffle stop, kind of, because he does 3 or 4 steps before he cuts. So
Yep.
it's That's not what he looked like against Florida State.
Mm-mm.
And then Gavin Sawchuk, Drum says it's more of a conditioning issue. He injured his hamstring in fall camp, couldn't finish fall camp. That's a guy who battled injuries all last year. So a guy that his whole life has just been able to go. He's been faster than everybody he's ever been on a field with. He'll still be faster than everybody he's ever been on a field with. He just has to go. Has to stop thinking, and he just needs to go. And once you start thinking, once you start pausing, that gives the defense the time, and now you're cooked. So I swear if I hear one more person bring up the Cheez-It Bowl, it doesn't have any bearing on the season right now. JP, there's been 82 carries by running backs not named Tawee Walker. 82 carries this year by running backs not named Tawee Walker, and he still has the longest run of the year. Crazy. So I'm about done with all this. We need a home run hitter talk. We need to play somebody other than Tawee. 82 carries? 82 carries by other running backs. No home runs. So let Tawee go ahead and hit singles and doubles all day and just live with it, man. Like, that's the thing is 82 carries is a pretty big sample size, JP. I mean, no home runs.
Yeah. 82
Tawee's the one with the highest yards per carry.
Yeah.
Tawee's the one with the longest run. Tawee's the one out of the backfield that's catching the most balls for the most amount of yards. So
hey, Tawee got some wiggle too. He deadlegged somebody in the Cincinnati game for like 10 yards.
He's got a little bit of wiggle, but
a little bit.
He'd rather run over you.
The best thing that you said all day, football.
No, it's
a little bit of P run in there, that's for sure.
But I'm cool with Tawee. I'm fine with Marcus kind of sitting this game. It's fine. If we've got to sacrifice a running back's carries just to try and get some other dudes some carries, like so be it.
Yeah.
But I know the coaching staff, there's a lot of talk about rhythm, and Kim brings up 5 carries a game, doesn't let it get going. Like, they didn't get going against Tulsa when Javonte and Gavin had all the carries. Like, at a certain point, do you only give 2 running backs the ball? Because Brent Venables brought up that you can't play 4 running backs meaningful time in one game. So I think that's why they've just been going with 2. And there's a lot. He brought up the RPOs. A lot of times, Dylan's just pulling that ball. So it's like where you might dial up, more runs. Dylan might check out of it because the numbers aren't right. So Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, we're not in the Adrian Peterson days anymore. Like, the whole get your guy 15 to 20 carries to get going is not happening anymore. 1. 2, if you give somebody a sample size to show you something and they don't show you nothing, what makes you think they get more carries? Right? I mean, if you get 5 carries and your yards per carry is like 1.5, which I'm not saying that's what it was. Like, what on top of whatever happened in practice, what have you done to prove that you need more carries besides the fact you were a 4-star and a lot of fans think that you should get on the field?
Well, I warn about this every year, JP. It's the Charleston Rambo effect. Don't get bowl game drunk.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yep.
Because Charleston Rambo, Todd McShay had him in the first round out of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Following one big Kyler pass. So Charleston Rambo's the next one out of Oklahoma. First round pick.
Yep.
Did not finish his career at Oklahoma. Was not a first round pick. But Marcus Major in the Florida game, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man, Marcus looked good, man. Big game, over 100 yards. He's the future. I don't know if he's had 100 yards since.
Yeah.
And that's no knock on. I mean, he hasn't been healthy. Like, I swear this dude's snake bit. He hasn't been healthy, and then every one of his big runs gets called back for a penalty.
I know.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
He had that beautiful 3rd and 19. I loved it. 3rd and 19. Looked like we were just kind of giving up on the drive, trying to get some yards so we could punt. Marcus had other plans. He went, made a nice cut up the right side, ends up picking up the first down on 3rd and 19. But that's the thing. You get drunk on these Rose Bowl performances, and then you try and carry them into the next year and just assume whether it's injury, whether it's, whatever it is, like you can't just assume, hey, they're going to be the exact same player that they were in that bowl game. It's just we've seen it too many times. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's
Agreed.
I know I feel confident that Gavin Sawchuk and Javante Barnes aren't going anywhere. They're both in their second year. Gavin Sawchuk is a redshirt freshman. Javante Barnes is a sophomore. It will be their backfield next year for sure. I think a lot of people get scared by the portal and this, that, and the other. I mean, as long as the coaches are being honest with them and they're being honest with themselves, more importantly, I don't think we have to worry about the portal.
Yeah, I agree. Man, I keep forgetting Brennan Thompson is even on this team. I want to know when he's gonna be healthy. I'd like to see him out there, see what that looks like.
Yeah, he was a couple weeks out, I think a couple weeks ago. So I know he's going to want to suit up and play, but I mean, J-Poo, who do you take snaps away from?
Exactly. The haters will say Gavin Freeman because when he.
But even Gavin Freeman isn't playing it like we want Gavin Freeman snaps to go to Nick Anderson, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and when I say we, I'm not saying you and I are saying that we don't want Gavin Freeman to get snaps. I'm saying like the fan base, right? Like we talk about like, man, get Nick Anderson the ball more, get Jaden Gibson the ball more. Okay, well, where are those targets coming from, right? Where's that target share? So when you look at Jaquays Petaway, Brendan Thompson, a lot of these guys, like you're going to have to take snaps away from somebody.
Yeah.
And who in the wide receiver core are you going to take snaps away from?
That's a great question.
Something to think about.
All right, let's get to a score prediction, and then we'll get ready to get out of here.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go 35-10.
Wow, that's very close to mine.
Really?
I'm going to take yours, but we're going to kick a field goal as well. So 38. And you like a touchdown and a field goal. I like 3 field goals. 9. Weird score. 38-9. Les and I are very similar. I am adding another field goal, but I believe we keep them out of the end zone. I think we extend our streak to 10 quarters without a touchdown given up. And we go 38-9. Because here's the thing, JP. Like, garbage time touchdowns aren't really a thing for us.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think because we have so many young, talented guys, we have that competitive depth that I feel like since we're so much deeper than other teams that we close better. We closed better against SMU. We closed better in the second half against Tulsa. We closed strong with the shutout against Arkansas State. Cincinnati, we didn't allow, any points in the second half? Wasn't it, 10-6 at half?
Yeah.
I mean, we're closing strong because we have those.
Right.
10-3? So was it 10-3, 10-3? I could be wrong.
Regardless,
we're not giving up late game touchdowns. That's what's important.
Yeah.
So you put that with this game, and the gambling already took away the depth of Iowa State, and they didn't have great depth anyways. But man, you add our defense, add our young talent against their team that's already offensively challenged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm hoping it gets ugly.
Yeah. We're going to have to see, man. I mean, I think that I'm going to need to look at their quarterback. I need to see what he looked like against Ohio. I'm watching, I'm not going to lie, I'm watching a little bit of some pieces of that game right now, and he's not, I mean, he can spin it. He can spin it, but he's probably prone to decision-making mistakes. And
I would argue he'll probably be the fourth best quarterback we've faced.
Yeah. He's not bad.
Because I feel like Emory Jones and Preston Stone are 1-2. And I realize none of these dudes are elite. I'm not saying that. But Preston Stone and Emory Jones are 1 and 2. I'll say Cardell Williams might be number 3. My young man went off tonight for 14 of 17 for 244 and 3 tutties. Added another 90 yards rushing on the ground, including a 50-yarder with a touchdown. So I think he might be a little better. So in our 5th game of the season, we might be seeing our 4th best quarterback. So do with that what you will, folks.
Yeah.
It's always been about defense with Iowa State.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I'm sure Brent Venables has some plan for him. Can throw a lot of different looks at him, not make it simple. So I'm sure he'll make his mistakes. But yeah, I mean, he could spin.
I think there's going to be a little bit of gamesmanship because, you know, we hear about Iowa State and their revolutionary defense and they're the standard of the Big 12 all these years. JP, do you think a guy like Brent Venables almost takes that as a challenge?
Probably. I would imagine so.
Like, oh, you're the godfather of defense in this conference, huh?
Yeah.
Well, don't remember, I won a national championship in this conference with my defense. So,
let me show you.
That's what I'm interested in is if we see some exotic stuff just because Brent Venables wants to show off a little bit.
Yeah. That would be interesting. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I don't think we'll, score 50 points or anything like that. But I think, Oklahoma State can score 27. we can certainly do some damage, and
right.
I don't see their offense doing too much to us. So, yeah, we'll see what it looks like, and hopefully we're again talking about a W going into the biggest week of our season. All right, Red River. But
couldn't be more excited. But we got to take care of business first.
Yep, exactly. We got to get through this one first. So, Unity jerseys coming out, right? Saturday, allegedly.
A lot of big-time recruits.
Yeah.
Did you see David Stone and Jaden Jackson went to the Sophomore Bixby game tonight?
I didn't. Did they?
Bixby was up like 66-0 through 3, so.
Dang.
Bixby's so good, man.
That is
so good.
66-0 is crazy.
It is.
All right, guys. All right. Well, we appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Love the support. Even the trolls. We love y'all too. Trav, you got anything for the people, man?
Man, no, appreciate you all tuning in, as always. We've been doing this a long time now, it feels like. And, it's not lost on us, the people that come in every week with us, comment, chat with each other in the comments, chat with us in the comments. I love it. So appreciate you all. And patience. Patience is the word of the week.
Yes.
Patience is the word of the week. So, see you guys.
It was so cool in Cincinnati just to talk to a bunch of people that watched the show. That was incredible for me. Obviously I've had people in Norman like that do that, but like just to, there's a couple people came up to me and were like, hey, like this one girl came up to me like, I want you guys to show like my family's here, like I want you to meet them. Like it was crazy. I was like, dang, This is wild, man. It's awesome to know that like you guys support us, and we're just two friends that made a podcast a few years ago, and just decided to have fun talking about football because that's something we both like to do, and that's something now that Trav gets to do for an actual living, which is awesome. And we still get to come here on Thursday nights and kick it with y'all, man. So we're definitely both blessed, and just appreciate all the support you guys give us. So make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Speaking of support.
And one last thing for those that are still hanging on with us. I got to taste while I was in Cincinnati or while I was in Indy. Something I took home with me was an apple that JP and his family had picked. They'd been to the apple orchard, the famous apple orchard, apple picking during football season. You know how they like to do it up there in the Posey household. They like to pick apples during football season. So I left with a nice little Granny Smith. It made for a great breakfast on my drive back down to Tulsa. So he's definitely going to pick on apples, folks. He's not full of it. He had a whole bag of them. So
I might have picked all of them. Really,
they were great. So highly recommend the apples up there. So appreciate y'all.
Boomer.